Hey interweb gamers and ARK fans! Today we're doing part 1 of a 3-part series on my water base. In this video we'll be building the main house. I did not use admin mode to build this, and all the resources were collected by myself with the assistance of my team. This video is broken up into 3 sections: materials list, the build, and the walkthrough. Please make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to help me out. Now let's get started. Here is a list of building materials and quantities used. I'm on the island map, and I've decided to build my base in this lagoon area. And let's show you on the map. So you can see it's a little lagoon area to the south side of the map. I really like this because there's a lot of expansion capability, and I think if I get some water tames, I can just bring them through the canal area over here. I mean, worst case scenario is I can build a secondary base for the water tames just on the other side of this little peninsula. To build your base, the first thing you're going to need to decide is if you want to start it at water level or if you don't care. If you don't care, you can just use S+ pillars and ignore the next part. Now, if you do want to build it at water level, then you're going to need to use the vanilla version of the pillars. Those create the appropriate snap points so that we can get it right at water level. Now, if you're building on an uneven bottom, the first thing you're going to want to do is find the lowest point in the area and then actually walk the pillars to the center of where you want to build. This will allow the pillars to snap correctly to the bottom so that you can still build even to the water level. If the bottom is pretty even, then the only thing you need to do is just find the center and drop your first pillar. Now, in my location, I've already found the center of where I want to build, and I've placed my first pillar there. So all I have to do now is finish building out the support. I've placed my first pillar here. So the first thing I want to do is build this up to the center. Now, this area is pretty shallow, so it only takes roughly 3 pillars per support structure. So next I'm going to stack them right on top of each other, and you can see it got it right at water level. Now if you use the S+ pillars, what happens is it honors the length of each pillar and you'll end up a little bit above the water level. So now that I have the first pillar in place, I want to actually walk it out. So see how it snaps close to it? And then there'll be a second snap point. The second snap point essentially puts the pillar in the middle of your ceiling structure. So you'll want to walk it out 3 center snap points, if that makes sense. So I'll show you. So we have our first snap point. There's 1, 2, and 3. And then you'll build it up and pick up these 2. Now, the reason why we go 3 out is because each pillar will support the ceiling on it, so it'll support that, plus 2 extra ceiling tiles out on each direction. So what we'll do is we place the pillar where the third one will go, and we can continue doing the support. The main base in total takes 9 pillars, plus I'll have 1 for each dock. So that'll be a total of 4 for the 4 docks. Now that you know how to walk it out, I'll build the remaining ones. So this is our center structure. This is the middle on the side. I'll do 9 more plus the additional 4. Now that I have the support structure built, I'm going to build the foundation. So the first thing I'll do is lay out the stone ceilings. The ceiling layout will be 9x7, giving me a total of 63 ceilings. Plus I'll be adding the ramps on each end, so there's about 10 total, 5 on each side. Now I'm going to add the ceiling triangles to give it more of a curved look around each of the edges. Each side will take about 17 triangles. Next, I'm going to add the docks. Each dock takes 4 wood ceiling tiles, and there are 4 docks total, so that's a total of 16 tiles. To keep the animals from taking off, as well as keeping me from walking off the edge, I'm going to add rails to each side. This place does spawn alligators and piranha, as well as some other critters, and I'd like to keep them from getting underneath the structure and attacking or getting stuck. So what I'm going to do is install a skirt around the bottom on each side. That should help keep them out. It's going to be 1 wall down. Now you can extend that further to protect your support beams, or if the animals get underneath. Now that we have the foundation complete, we can start building the main house. Main house dimensions will be 5x5, allowing roughly 2 ceiling tile walkway around the entire house. The first floor is going to be 2 walls high to allow for the bigger resources to fit inside. I'll be alternating window walls with regular walls. To make things easier, I made 8 large walls to account for each wall section on the first and second floor. To start, what we're going to do is go to the middle ramp. All right, so 1, 2, okay, so the middle ramp. And then go 2 ceiling tiles in, so 1, 2. Then we'll place our double door. Next, I'm going to add regular wall over the top. Now that we have our starting point, all we have to do is add 2 windowed walls and then alternate with one of the large walls. start on the second floor. The first thing we're going to need to do is place the stairs. So it'll go 2 tiles in on the right side. That's 1 and 2. There we go. Now you'll leave an opening over the stairs so you can walk up them, but the rest of it, so it's about 2 ceiling tiles open. The rest of it you can just fill in with ceiling tiles. So let's get started. Next, we'll add the rails around the opening to the stairs, and then we'll repeat the same wall pattern that we did on the first floor, starting with the double door frame here, and then alternating with 2 window walls. Now we can add the balconies to each side. So each balcony takes 5 triangle ceiling tiles and 4 rails. Now I'll add the support for the ceiling. That will take 5 wood ceilings on each side plus 5 wood walls. The last wall will be installed towards the end while we add in all the remaining walls along each end, as well as the sloped walls and door frames for ceiling support. Now I can add the 2 layers of sloped ceiling on each side and then convert it to adobe. So now I can add in the remaining staircase, the additional balconies on the pseudo third floor and the remaining part of the roof, as well as the double doors on the first floor. So the last piece is to add the sentry platforms. Those consist of 10 wood triangles and 6 rails. To start at the corner. Then add your rails. Now let's finish the other ones. That's it, we're all done. Now for the walkthrough. here you can see I have a dock where I have my raft. And the nice thing about having multiple docks is that I can create multiple rafts for different purposes. I think the next raft I might create is one specifically for taming. You can convert this area to a lagoon or a water cage for your water tames, or to help keep critters from coming up into your base. Now, as you can see, the walkway is a great place to store some of your tames. If you're in a PvP environment, one thing I would definitely recommend is extending the skirt all the way down to protect your pillars. I may end up having to add a second row just to make sure nothing can get underneath. So far, it's been doing a pretty good job keeping most of the critters out. As you can see, on the first floor, I have all of my regularly used objects. It's pretty nice. And a couple of dodos. And on the second floor, I'll be putting storage units up here mostly. And then any runoff materials or resources will come up here as well. And I also have my bed. Now, the nice thing about the balconies, I left them open so that I could go in and out and take a look around. But it's a great opportunity for a PvP environment if you want to do some type of protection. You can put some doors in. The windows, at some point, all the windowed walls will be converted to glass, and then I might convert it to metal, or I might not. Depends on how I think it looks. But if you're in a PvP environment, you might want to do a little less on the windows, maybe just one story of windows and then one story of walls. That way you can put window frames on them, and then you don't have to worry about anybody trying to invade. And then again, you have a couple balconies on each side, so you can do some protection, or you could do some turrets. And then the last place is the sentry platforms, where, as you can see, I've got my Pteranodon PD, and I can tame some more Pteranodons and put them up here as sentries, or any other flying dinosaurs. You can store them up here. Now, the really nice thing, if you wanted, is you can add, instead of taming dinosaurs, you could put in turrets up here, and you can easily, I say this as I try to do it, lovely, access the top here and put some more turrets. In fact, you could even take this sloped ceiling and put a turret in here. So probably put a turret in there. So it's really nice. There's a lot of different places you could do just about anything you wanted. Then I like the doors for access so I can just walk through. Now you get to see it all lit up. So let's take a flight around. Let me get up. And there you go. Pretty nice, huh? Let's take a look around. And you can see it all lit up. It's quite pretty. So over here, part 2 will be the dinosaur barn, and part 3 will be the farm, which will go over here. And ideally, I'll have walkways going around, so it'll add a layer of protection to the main house. Now, Now, part of the reason why I made these platforms a little big is you have to move them to the right so that when you get off, you don't fall down. Now, as I had stated before, I didn't need to go into admin mode to build this or gather the resources. I gathered all of the resources for these objects with the assistance of a few tames. For stone, I had my Dodoceras modi. And then, which was fantastic. He was a lifesaver for the stone. Then for hauling, I used Paula, who's a parasaur, and Miggy, my iguanodon. So they were great for bringing in. All I had to do was harvest wood and thatch. So it was really nice. And there you go. You made it to the end. Why don't you hit that like button over here? And if you're interested in seeing how I tamed Modi, check out this video over here. I also recommend that you subscribe so you can get notified on the latest and greatest videos that I'll be releasing. Thanks for joining. Bye.